the Soul Patrol!
Two homegirls from Cabrini Green. If you think you're bad, step in our ring. We show no mercy, without a doubt, because we're the ones who'll knock you out.
Welcome to another episode of Talking with JM. I'm your host, GoodOlJM, coming to you from CSP Studios in Tampa, Florida, the birthplace of pro wrestling. And today, my special guest is a member of the Soul Patrol tag team from the original Glow Girls pro wrestling company from the late 80s into the early 90s. You know her better as Envy. But here she is as herself, as Carmen Wickert. And welcome to the show, and thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me. All my names are actually, it's Carmen Wickert. I just got married. Actually be celebrate my 2-year anniversary in September 1st. And then we're going to pop onto that Glow cruise, which I'm excited about. But my people know me as Carmen Campbell Villalobos, Carmen Campbell. Basically, those are my names besides Carmen Wickert. So if anybody wants to find me, they can find me with those names.
Oh, hopefully no one's ever accused you of having an identity crisis or something, having so many names. But
yeah, I confuse people a lot. It depends upon who I want to be that day.
Right. But no, that's great. You're mentioning your 2nd year anniversary. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Longest relationship I ever had was maybe 1.5 years, so you got me beat there.
Well, listen, this is my 2nd marriage. So my first, went for 15 years, I was hoping it was going to go on longer than that, but it didn't make it. Things happen.
Yeah, unfortunately, and it's part of life, but
I got a beautiful daughter out of it.
Oh, amazing. That's beautiful. So growing up, were you a pro wrestling fan?
I'm going to say I never watched it. I know that sounds bad, but no, I never watched it. It was just some fluke of a thing that I entered the wrestling game with my partner, Adore. She was actually, her name is Sharon, and her and I were good friends. And our parents, our fathers were in the military, so that's why I met Sharon, my Adore from Soul Patrol. And one of the girls that was in Glow at the time, and they just did the pilot. Her name is Ebony.
Yes.
She was friends with Sharon Adore, and that's pretty much how I got into the whole wrestling game.
Wow. And had no clue basically what you were getting into, at least from a physical standpoint, before we get into the mental and the psychological point.
No, dude, I wasn't even an athlete. The only thing I really did was dance. I danced. Like in high school, I was in a dancing troupe, and I loved that. And I was dancing since I was 2 on my daddy's ottoman when he played all his cool music, So as far as being an athlete, I'm gonna say no. No.
So just there was nothing beyond dancing as you having physical activities.
Exactly. I might have done a cartwheel here or there, but that's about it.
It's something. I mean, at least if I try that now at this point in my life, I'll probably break something. But at least,
dude, no. I couldn't do a cartwheel anyways. I would have to probably stretch for an hour before I pull a hamstring if I'm doing something like that. No,
right.
It's something for somebody who's 10. Sorry.
Right. At least you were able to leave your feet. I can't do that anymore. Um, for the before getting to Glow, there were easy for me to say. There were auditions for spots on the program. How did you hear about it?
Okay, so like I said, Sharon Adore knew Ebony, and I guess Sharon and I had just came back. Actually, she just came back from London. I just came back from Germany, and we're just trying to find our place, back in Las Vegas again. And I grew up in Vegas, and she mentioned this show. So I was working at a job, and I'm like, the job wasn't my thing, and I was like, sure, I'll go to the Riviera Hotel and let's check this wrestling out. It was like I had no idea what she was taking me into. You know what I mean? It was like wrestling. It's a show. What? So we walk into the Riviera Hotel where the wrestling ring is, where the girls were training, and we met David McLean. And he said, check the girls out. They're training right now. See what you think. See how you feel about it. And we saw them, doing, tumbling around, getting thrown around, doing different type of moves like drop kicks and other moves. I can't even remember what I was seeing, because I was so scared. It was like I was in shock of what they were doing. I've never seen it before.
Wow.
Girls rolling around, tumbling around, getting thrown around. And when David said, well, you know what, you'll get paid this much, and we go, okay, we'll do it.
That's all you needed to hear.
I was like, my job was at a dead end.
Yeah.
I was like, I get paid what? And I get vouchers to eat and vouchers to drink. Say what? I mean, come on. At 21, I was like, hello, doing a show, and I just gotta like roll around and stuff.
Hey, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
So we looked at each other. We're like, we're down.
Yeah.
And that's how that started. That's we weren't with the girls, the original girls who did the pilot. I think they were in LA, and that's when they saw the audition for the Glow show, and they went out there and auditioned, and then had I guess then they moved on to the Riviera Hotel, and they already shot the pilot. So we were not in the pilot, but we came literally right after that pilot.
Right.
And I think Ebony actually left really at the beginning, I think. I don't know what happened to her.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I guess, mysteries, the best term to use. When it comes to certain Glow girls not getting past the first season or even halfway of the first season. And, yeah, no one knows whatever happened to them, and there's really not much info of them online as to where are they now kind of thing. But
yeah, exactly. But it was definitely a really interesting experience. I'll never forget it. And my dad, when I came home and I told my dad this is what I'm going to do, and he thought I was crazy. Crazy. But my nieces, they were like really young back at the time. They were like loving every minute of it. They would come to the live shows and just have a great time. And then one time I did talk my dad into coming to the show and kind of being part of our match with Ashley and Tina.
Right.
He was out in the audience in the front row. It was funny as all hell. I was dragging Ashley by the hair, and I pulled her over to my father, and I said, kiss this black man's feet. Kiss this black man's feet. And I'm like dragging her, and I'm like shoving her face down at my daddy's shoes. It was hilarious. My dad was just giggling and laughing. Oh, he was having a good old time. He had to admit that one. Oh. Even though he didn't want me to do anything because he thought that was crazy and I would get hurt.
Right.
And people got hurt in the ring,
Yeah.
It was, when your adrenaline's like really flying and going really high, it's hard to kind of like bring yourself down and like, okay, go chill, man, because you're going to hurt somebody. And, it happens.
Right. And speaking of which, how difficult was it for you to adjust your body for in-ring activity, and were there any injuries while training?
I think for me, one time, I thought I was having a heart attack. So stupid. I got thrown out of the ring, or I hit the ring, the ropes wrong.
Yeah.
And there was so much pressure on my chest and my heart. I was like, take me to go get an EKG. It was so stupid.
Wow.
Because I had no clue, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I got a physical before I even started this to get trained for this show.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm surprised I didn't do that. At least I don't remember. Dude, it was like, how many years ago? Hello, I gotta bring back. It's hard to remember stuff,
Right. No, I understand.
But I know girls getting hurt in the ring, and I know that Jungle Woman, I believe, hurt her back, and the crazy thing that happened to Susie Spirit with her arm.
Wow, yeah.
That we're actually in the we were actually in the back waiting for us to get to go out there to do our matches, and Susie Spirit came back holding her arm, and I was like, whoa.
Right.
Oh my God, I thought I was gonna barf everywhere. I go, what the hell's going on with her? Like I don't know. We don't know what's going on because we're in the back. I don't remember there being any monitors back, and I don't know if we can really hear anything, but But when they started playing that over and over and over again, I was like, they're playing that over and over and over.
Seriously. And
they blamed it on the headhunter, which I thought was pretty funny because if you watched it, it didn't.
Yeah, I did. And after watching it over and over again, even in a documentary, which we'll talk to about in a second, they did that, even close-ups in slow motion. I'm like, okay, we get it. She broke her arm. But it was an innocent move. It's no one's fault. It's just these things happen, and you think that your body's one way, thinking that not added weight or pressure or momentum is going to do anything to you. But well, if you weren't built for it, or not that I'm speaking for Susie Spirit, but sometimes a specific part of the body isn't prepared, much less strong enough to hold back another person's body weight on top of that joint. And
exactly. Well, she was pretty thin, Yeah. She's I think she was a dancer in one of the shows. Sweet woman, but yeah, girl at the time. But yeah, it was just everybody was scared in the back.
Yeah, it was an accident.
We were afraid of getting hurt, and it's like, oh my God, now there's this whole big fear, inside of you.
Well, I can imagine it messes with your psyche, and well, what if that was me, or like you said, or I'm next, or is that part of the ring damaged or jinxed or something, and a bunch of stuff went through your head, and you want to be a little extra careful. But again, I look at it as an accident. Of course, nowadays,
completely. It was nothing malicious that happened.
Right.
It was something that happened on purpose.
Right.
Just like I said, the adrenaline's like just going through you, like you have no idea because hello, there's an audience. You got cameras on you.
Right.
You're performing. You want to do the moves correctly, but sometimes it just does not happen. Like for instance, one time I was wrestling with it was I think it was Susie Spirit and Debbie Debutante. It was me. It was Soul Patrol, and then the adrenaline was going so strong in Debbie Debutante that when she was supposed to stomp on me, she stomped on me. And one of our words to use when we're hurt is basically F you. And she took the win. I was knocked out. I was like, oh my God, and I hate to say this, but I was like telling Dave McClain, I said, she's out of control. Yeah. She's out of control. And he said, go get her.
Right.
So Soul Patrol did what they had to do.
Yeah. Get your, as they say, get your receipt back.
Hello. Yeah. You've been served.
Exactly. And going by today's society, had the Susie Spirit incident happen today, there'll be more pointing fingers, at least from the fans' point of view. The ones that don't get it or understand, they just go by what they saw, and it was her opponents being negligent. Oh, I can't even say the word, but unsafe, and it's the promoter's fault for not providing enough, a work safe environment and stuff like that. It's nowadays it's like, guys, the performer, the woman, the man is hurt. Can we focus on that for a second and maybe go back to see what went wrong and try to prevent it from happening again? But
exactly.
it's just too much blame game nowadays, and not that they aren't right some of the time, but again, it's human beings hurt. Let's focus on that for the moment. But it is what it is. And I asked Lightning this in my last episode. Did you ever think that the ring was too small and height wise compared to other rings that you might have seen in other companies at the time?
See, I had at that time I had no clue, like I said, what I was getting into.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know exactly,
Mm-hmm.
how much padding it's supposed to have now. It was
Right.
not. It was. I mean, it didn't have a lot of cushion, by the way.
No,
It was-
there was no give to that ring.
Yeah, it didn't have a lot of cushion. It wasn't. I think it just wasn't. I think that's why people got hurt a lot,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, especially, you better know how to take your fall, because if you didn't take that fall right,
Mm-hmm.
you will get hurt
Right.
because of the ring. It just that mat was not the. I mean, it wasn't like a what do you call it? Memory foam.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. There wasn't too many bounces, and there were a lot of big women who would take bumps there, and I rarely see them, if ever, bounce off. It was wow. It's
Right.
just splat right in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, we did.
Wow.
We did, but like I said, we had no clue. It's
Right.
That's just the thing. It's like you bring in these young women who, most of them were actresses, had just and not really that much athletic, but we trained, we did our best to learn the moves, and we went out there and did our thing, as our character.
Right.
So thank God, Soul Patrol, we used nunchucks and brass knuckles. We were just
Yeah.
bad guys. So it's like I would tell I would be the mouthy one if you ever saw any of the shows. I'm the one who had my mouth going.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Dora, you do the moves.
How many times?
I did some moves, but
Right.
I'm like, well, you pick her up and do the body slam. You let me just drop kick, because that was my favorite.
Yeah.
I love doing some drop kicking, man. Mm-hmm.
How many lamps did you break with those nunchucks practicing in your room?
I know, right?
No, girls, this way. No, that way. Boom, there was a lamp.
The kids one with the cushion. It's like, you can't hurt the girls. Hello, props.
Right. Oh.
I didn't know how to use them. I knew how to use it to punch them,
Right.
strangle them.
Because that's what the sticks on strings are for. You punch them with it. Yeah.
Right? That's all. That was cool. Like, I know what Bruce Lee does with his nunchucks, but that's the real way.
Right.
But Soul Patrol, you do it that way.
That's the Soul Patrol way. You just punch them.
Soul Patrol way.
I got a bat. No, I don't swing. I just punch people with the bat in my hand. So.
Heck yeah. Hey, give me whatever.
Exactly.
We never really won any matches either. The heels.
Right.
That's why, you know what? By the way, Dave McClain did, when we first came and spoke with him about, possibly being part of Glow.
Mm-hmm.
He did ask us if we wanted to be a heel or a baby face, and we said heel because that's more funner.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Yeah, it was so much fun. And then he asked us, we made up our own names, we made up Soul Patrol and Being a Door. And the funny thing is, I looked online, I was typing in Soul Patrol. I had no idea back in the day, was it 70s or 60s? There were athletic men, wrestlers, who were called Soul Patrol.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
I had no idea, but we did not make up the name Soul Patrol because of them. Because like I said, I knew nothing about wrestling. I had no idea who they were. And all of a sudden, literally in this time frame, this era right now, in the 2019, I saw the Soul Patrol, those African-American men, which is pretty funny because we thought we made up the damn name. Like, that's cool, hey, Soul. And we're patrolling the ring. Yeah, Soul Patrol. That's what we said. I'm like, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not the first time it's happened. I mean, there's been more than one Gorgeous George, and one of them was a male and the other one's a female. And they were about maybe 40 years apart, give or take.
Okay.
So it's happened. So don't feel too bad. If anything, if the men's Soul Patrol were found out, and I'm sure they took it as flattering and as a compliment, but at least you weren't sued, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I know. At least 40, exactly. So, ooh, don't say that now. Don't put that out there. That's energy.
I was like, after all this time, we could have done that. Yeah.
And we were able to decide, what our costumes were going to be. So Adore, wanted. Okay, we decided purple, but Adore wanted corset tops, and as cute and sexy as they were, it didn't work for me because at that time I was a heavier chick, and she was thinner. She was smaller on top and I was bigger on top, and let's just say sometimes Janet Jackson happened when I was out there in that ring.
That was my next question. How did the entire roster avoid from having wardrobe malfunctions? I mean, obviously I wouldn't know how to prevent such things, except maybe wear something with the ties down. But
geez, you know what? I wish we would have conversated more so with wardrobe who helped us out with this. But I was putting like Band-Aids on my nipples, just in case they popped out.
That helps. I mean, what? No duct tape? Give me the box of Band-Aids. I'll see what I can do.
I should have wore a bra underneath that. I was not. Wasn't thinking. Had no clue. Really, just so freaking naive about it all. And it would pop out, and even did when my dad was there.
Oh.
I was like, oh my God, did my boobs come out? And you probably see too, like in the ring. I'm pulling at my corset top on top, and I'm trying to make sure when I'm doing a move, I'm pulling, make sure my boobs aren't falling out. It was so like. It was embarrassing.
The women of today, maybe not as revealing, but their outfits will be so tight, even coughing, like, oh, sorry, did that make air?
Okay.
I mean, and it happens. Are you familiar with Mickie James when she first debuted in WWE? I think it was 2005, and she was kind of doing the cheerleader thing as well, with really high mini skirts, cheerleader style, but she had like not biker shorts underneath, but she had somewhat shorts, but they were still really tight and really high, like
boy shorts.
Yeah, and her tops, I would assume they were sports bra types, and it wasn't exactly caught on television, but people at ringside do take pictures and they make it online. And when it's uploaded, you're looking through Google, like, oh, Mickie James had a wardrobe malfunction, and all she was doing was just, doing just a regular move. Nowadays, when there's I guess a little gap in between each spot from one to another, every woman just make sure that they adjust themselves to take a quick look, make sure everything is in place, but they're so tight outfits. I mean, as a man, I'm not complaining too much, but at the same time, you want to have that
trying to be comfortable,
right? And you want to put yourself in their position too. Like, man, well, if I'm wearing an outfit like that, how much do I want to reveal? How much I don't?
Have you seen the Glow Show? I mean, have you seen how the cameraman would zoom in on certain crotch shots and booty shots? Come on,
I have.
I was appalled. Let me just tell you. No, really, because we had no idea that was going on until then you saw the show and we're like, what the heck is going on? What?
Right. I mean, does she have a boo-boo in between her thighs or something? Well, this is for evidence in case we got to go through insurance or something. But
dude, they didn't have any liability insurance on it. Like, listen, if something happened to us, it's on us.
Right. Oh, wow.
That was not cool. No. Yeah, that's how we, I don't know. And in Vegas, in that state, it was I guess it's right to work state, so there was no union there. It's definitely non-union state. So if that show was filmed in LA, it would have most likely, hopefully, it became union where we insist on it, and then we would have made some royalties from the show, because that the Glow Show was syndicated in 91 countries.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
I'm pretty sure there's probably a really small country that no one can pronounce by name, and it's still showing it like a Throwback Thursday channel or something.
I believe that.
And I mean, there has to be. Of course, unfortunately, the entire video library is not available. And I've spoken with Hollywood and Lightning, and even the Royal Hawaiians. Like, why isn't there a box set or something? I mean, 4 seasons. I mean, TVs who had hundreds of episodes within one season will come out with maybe separate volumes of the same season, but it's the entire collection. And
yeah, I don't know who has it. I was in the first and second season, and then I left when David McLean left Glow, and I left with David and went off to PAL, Power for Women of Wrestling.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. Well, before we get there, if you didn't get into the career of pro wrestling, was there any other profession you could have seen yourself doing?
You know what? I came out of a trade school, vocational school, with a data processing certificate. I was really good at, the computers and programming and all that jazz. That's not something I really wanted to do. My parents pushed me into doing that. I really want to be a culinary artist, and that's what I really wanted to do. My parents were saying, it's computers are the way of the world. And I'm like, oh, good. That's not even me, man. That's not, I mean, you can be creative with it, I guess, but that wasn't my thing. And when I was in school, I would just look upstairs, and I see all the culinary artists up there, like preparing foods or baking. And that's where I really wanted to be. Oh, I forgot to tell you, man, I was a cheerleader at school. What the? That's what I've been like. Okay, see, that's what I'm talking about, brain farts. Yeah. I was a little athlete. Wait a minute. When I was a senior, I was a cheerleader. I had to do some moves, Yeah. So I was an athlete, back then. Okay, now let me go back to my.
Oh, the brain fart has passed. Okay.
I know. And why that came about is because thinking, wait a minute, when I was in vocational school, that's where I was a cheerleader.
Right.
Oh my God. Oh, it's so sad. When you get older, you kind of lose something.
Yeah, I'm getting there myself. Trust me.
Oh boy. Oh, Carmen. Yeah. So. That was the direction I was going to, but I was also in school for acting and stuff too. So I was really wanting to do that. But my passion was being a massage therapist. I just retired from that after 27 years of being a massage therapist about 2 years ago.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so that was my thing. It was always about taking care of people, nurturing people. And I was an esthetician too, so I did facials, waxing, and all that stuff. And I'm not doing it anymore. Right now, I'm just back to pursuing a career of acting and modeling here in Chicagoland. Is where I am.
Yeah. So you weren't around to exactly see the end of Glow itself in 1990, seemingly out of nowhere. And of course, social media, internet didn't exist back then. Yep. And after the cancellation, there were rumors, and then later on we got the documentary that kind of cleared things up a little bit as to what happened between Mr. Rickles and I believe Ursula, the babe, the farmer's daughter, is the current owner of at least with the footage of what's available. Some of it might still be owned or still in the possession of Mr. Rickles or even Mr. McLean. It's not been confirmed yet by either party.
I can't confirm anything.
Right. There were supposedly some financial issues that caught up with Mr. Rickles, thus shutting down the entire idea of Glow. So when and how did you first hear about Glow was shutting down?
Here's the thing. When I left Glow after the second season and moved on with David McLean, and went on to PAL, Powerful Women of Wrestling, Glow wasn't on my mind.
Okay.
So I don't know. It was like after I finished with PAL, that's a whole other story if you want me to get into it. Do you want me to get into PAL or not?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. Yeah, you will leave Glow
okay.
and then.
So here's the thing: when Glow ended, there's a time frame between me going off to PAL. The interesting thing, and then by my school in Vegas, right next to Vegas High School is where I went to. There was a store there, but then it ended up becoming a warehouse. And that's where me and Sharon Adore said, what is this? Glow, the 3rd and 4th seasons was happening.
Right.
So we walked in there, we're like, who are these girls? And we were just like looking and stuff. And I saw a girl coming in on a horse. And I guess that was the Godiva.
Right.
And I'm like, what the heck? So that's what it tripped me out because I'm like, a horse? I guess you could do that because it's not the hotel. And I had no idea, like, why are they not in that hotel? So we had no clue, like, what was going on at that point. Like, why are they here? Why aren't they at the hotel? Like, and we didn't really care because, it was done basically.
Right.
So then David McLean, Adora didn't come to PAL with us. It was, and there's a whole other reason for that. So I'm not getting into anything. But I went on with David McLean and the rest of the girls to PAL, Powerful Women of Wrestling, and we were based out of Indianapolis, and we did no skits. It was pretty much completely different than Glow because we were actually just wrestling. There was no rap songs. There was no skits. We were wrestling with Wendy Richter. You know who that is?
Yes.
Peggy Lee Leather, Georgia Peach.
Yeah.
We were wrestling with those women. Like, those were the serious professional women. I was scared to death to wrestle against Wendy Richter. Ooh, good Lord.
Yeah, there were a lot of big names. Luna Vachon, Medusa.
Oh yeah. Luna. Oh, I loved, you know what? And they were just so sweet. Except Wendy just freaked me out, man. She's she's supposed to be like a baby face. Oh, no.
Yeah, she's a whole other, if you ever met her in person. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but yeah, she's just, an experience.
So anyway, but it was fun times because we lived there in Indianapolis, and we just all like got along, loved each other, and not that we didn't with Glow, because I was the 1st and 2nd season. I really didn't know the girls in the 3rd and 4th. So when the Glow documentary came out, matter of fact, it was Angelina Little Egypt. She was, I don't know how she got my phone, but anyway, she got a hold of me. And we're talking. She was bringing up Glow, and I'm like, you know what? Glow was so long ago. I mean, I don't even know what you're talking about with me. Like, you know what I mean? It was like so long. I'm married. I have a little one.
You were trying to move on.
I was in a whole other phase of my life, and she was like chatting with me about it and this documentary. But I think that at that point, the documentary was already being made already. And then she's saying, hey, you know what? There's the Glow documentary premiere that's going to be at Silver Lake in LA area if I want to go. So I find that's when I met up with the girls again, because all that time that went, 30 years, went by, I really wasn't connected to anyone except me and Palestina, Janine. We were very close. And her and I lived together because, a lot of girls lived together in that hotel. And because we're from Vegas, Sharon and I had our own apartment. So we lived in our own apartment, and Palestina then towards the end, she ended up living with us. So I finally met some of the girls, but, they did a lot actually, being on television shows and talk shows and all that stuff. But the 1st and 2nd season, it wasn't like that.
Right.
But whoever stayed with them, like Hollywood, finished it out, and I don't know. It was interesting, very interesting. The documentary was great, though.
It was. I think that was the launching pad to where we are now with the Glow Netflix series. 3rd season drops actually on August 9th, I believe.
Yeah. And
it's going really well. Many fans, including myself, thought like, well, they you can't really ignore. Yeah, and you can't really ignore that part of history, at least when it comes to professional wrestling. And I mean, I know I can separate the Glow show compared to, say, the NWA back then or the WWF back then, and how they try to pass themselves today. WWE as a TV show, not so much sports, even though they appeared at the ESPYs this week. Go figure. And and I'm not saying that they're not athletic, not that they don't put the time and effort into maintain a great physique and go in there and go 20, 30 minutes up to an hour and sustain injuries along the way. But we talked about earlier about all the girls, not all the girls, but there were some injuries, maybe some bumps and bruises here and there during the run of Glow. But yeah, it was looked at and treated more as a TV show. But again, with the admiration from the fans, but it was still wrestling.
Oh, it was still wrestling because you know what? We had to learn the moves. That's what people say, like, oh, it's all fake. I said, oh, really? Well, we had to do the moves. We had to learn how to take the fall. Okay, so, you know, somebody's not going to really go in there and punch you unless their adrenaline's really high. So, yeah, we took some beating. And so when people say that, sometimes like it feels like an insult. You know, you get in that ring.
Right.
You go get in that ring. Do what we did. It was exhausting. You know?
No, I bet.
It really was, you know, just getting tossed out of the ring by Mount Fiji. Do that. Get tossed out of the ring.
I've always told some of the guys who I played sports with, and at that time, this was the really early 2000s. I had an opportunity to get some pro wrestling training for a few months. The school shut down, unfortunately. So I could say at least I had a cup of coffee in the ring with some guys from the independent scene in New York. Even, I don't know if you remember or know who he is, Vladimir Kozlov, who's now works in Hollywood as a stuntman. And I wrestled with him. Man.
How was that?
The man was incredibly strong. I mean, you know, big as a horse too, but incredibly strong. And bumping around with him and for him, yes, it's not a walk in the park. You feel those impacts.
Yeah.
And of course, he moved on to greater things. But it's
definitely different than the television show. You know,
it is.
They're doing the moves, but trust me.
Right, and I'm trying to convince.
They're not going to get any injuries.
Right, I try to convince some of the guys, like, listen, you know, running back and forth on a football field or basketball court is one thing. You try running back and forth by 20 average size ring. Go for about 5 minutes compared to running back and forth on the field for 5 minutes. Which one's going to tire you out quicker?
Listen, I exactly. So I play tennis, and it's a forward and backward and side to side motion. It's exhausting. I'm a runner. I did marathon and half marathons before. Wrestling is different.
Yeah,
it's just different. I mean, your body can take a beating, and our bodies took a beating.
Right.
So for anyone to say, oh, that's fake, and it's like, okay. Yeah, we may know the outcome.
Right.
Because that's just how it is. I mean, you know.
Right.
But it was, you know, Glow was just, you know, with us, we had the Soul Patrol Hip Book Dictionaries, which was, but we thought it was like, okay, this is kind of goofy, you know what I mean? But it was funny and it was fun, and everybody likes people bring it up, and I'm like, and the raps, you know, we made up our own rap song. That was really, really fun to do, and the Glow games and all that. I mean, it's just a great experience, a great camaraderie with the girls, and I wasn't close to a lot of the girls. You're just kind of pretty much Hollywood and Vine, you know. With Soul Patrol, we always kind of like we're connected. With Soul Patrol and Hollywood and Vine, you know, we would do our matches and stuff. If you had to put a tag team together of the heels, so that was really fun. And no, it was just a great experience at that time. Scary and great and fun, and you know,
right, and good times, exactly. And I was just gonna throw in there, it was a different kind of cardio as well. Running back and forth like that, bouncing off the ropes and jumping off the ropes, and yeah, it's so different athletic wise. I mean, there are very, very few wrestling moves that you can do as you know, a spot by yourself, not necessarily having a partner, that you can see, say, diving for a basketball before it goes out of bounds. Or sometimes when you play football with the pads on, you know, sometimes some players can be a little rough and creative, and next thing you know, they're suplexing you in the end zone, and the referee throws the flag down. A little too wild, I guess you're a little too much into it, and you must be a fan, aren't you? So, point being that it does, besides the different kind of cardios, but also there's influences. I mean, look,
Exactly.
look at MMA. How many guys haven't tried performing a wrestling move, whether it's illegal or not? But if you do it wrong and your opponent's not expecting it, then you're liable.
Exactly. So speaking of that, in POW, I stopped POW. It was a live event in Chicago. Matter of fact, here my family's from here. They live in the South Side. It's my daddy's side of the family, and that's how we became. We learned about Soul Patrol being from Cabrini Greens. I said, what's the scariest and meanest place in Chicago? My family goes, Cabrini Greens. So that's how Soul Patrol came from Cabrini Greens. But with POW, a move went bad with me and another wrestler, more amateur wrestler, and my head just kind of like bashed into the mat, and I thought it was paralyzed.
Wow.
Yeah, I was laying there, and I was scared to death, and the paramedics came, and David was there, and I was like in tears, and I thought, oh my God, I'm paralyzed. You know, like what's going to happen now? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like just stop. Like my life is like going to shoot in front of me. And the paramedic said, he goes, squeeze my hand. And I squeezed his hand, and he goes, you're going to be fine. I was like, oh my God.
So
I quit. Because they're not liable for the freaking injury. So if I became paralyzed, guess what?
Yeah, you're on your own.
I'm on my own.
Yeah. So that's.
I mean, David was loving. He was there. He was concerned and all that. But
Right.
I was like, I'm done. I'm over it. I had to wear a neck brace and all that because I just really injured myself. And it was done, and I never looked at wrestling. After that, I never looked back. I didn't.
Yeah.
And that's when, I heard from Angelina and all about the documentary and everything. I'm like, you know what? It would be kind of cool to see the girls again, and, who's out there and who's around and doing their thing. And I was surprised that Hollywood was still doing it. And Tina was off being a wrestler. She's cool too.
Yeah, Tina did move on to become Ivory and multiple time women's champion, now Hall of Famer.
Yeah, really cool.
And she was so down to earth. I met her maybe the last time was a couple of years ago, and in New York. I first met her back in 2000. It was her and Taz doing a meet and greet somewhere in Queens, New York, at a car dealership. This was right before the Royal Rumble that year. And we took a picture. You got an autograph. Thank you. I still have that picture. This is before we had 8x10 printouts at home and digital cameras and all that. So I kept that as is. It must be, I don't know. It's like the size of your palm size picture. And I took her to her, and she looked at it like, "Oh my God, this is you, and that's me. That's us from back in the day." And it took her back. I was like, I told her what year it was, and we just, I guess, reminisced for a few there, holding back the line of the fans who else wanted to see her. But she took the time to talk, and I appreciate that. I still kept that picture for so long, and she signed it for me, and now it's hanging up somewhere. And she's just such a great person. And
I was able to after that documentary and everything. She was there. Nadine Ashley was, because they're connected as a tag team back when, and we all partied together and stuff. And we hung out, and we had a good time. Yeah, she definitely down to earth. I think pretty much everyone is. It's.
I mean, it's a way to when you interact with the fans, whether it's a Comic-Con or a meet and greet and what have you. I understand it could be exhausting. You're there for hours meeting so many people, but at the same time, as fans, we appreciate that you do take the time, and you must be exhausted yourselves from so much traveling back and forth. I even sent out a message one time to Lillian Garcia, the former ring announcer. I didn't walk up to her in the New York subway station. I recognized her, but she just looked so exhausted, and I just kept going. You don't want to bother her. And later on, I will comment on her Facebook page explaining just that, and she goes, "Oh, don't worry, you could have just said hi. We could have posted pictures." Man, but at the same time,
that's cool. Yeah,
it is. It's great to hear.
Because without the fans, what do you have?
Exactly. But at the same time, I mean, not everyone is like me. I'm not saying everybody should be like me as a fan, but at the same time, you got to keep in mind they're still human beings as well. And
right.
they go
I mean, what I say is that, when somebody is when they're with their families,
Well, of
I
course.
think that's not the time to approach. And I think when somebody's sitting down to having dinner, that's probably a time probably not to approach. But if don't become like a stalker, dude.
You never had that kind of experience, have you, where you're just having somebody waiting outside the bathroom stall for you to get an autograph from you? Or anything like that?
No, I haven't had anything like that, because that'd be weird.
No, but I'll keep it in mind now since you brought it up. Your nut job. So
I have not been to any of the Comic Cons at all, and Hollywood, Jeannie is saying to me that I should do the LA Comic Con, which is in October, 11th through 13th in LA Convention Center. So that's something I'm thinking about.
Go for it.
Doing, because I know. I haven't really. I was raising my daughter. My daughter was in high school. She's going to college. There was a lot going on with me. Her father had passed away. There was so much going on, and it was for many of these years it's been hard. But now since I moved to Chicago a year ago, I'm trying to get back in the whole swing of things and connecting with Hollywood, and we're just I'm trying to get it going. So that's speaking of that, I'll be on the cruise with them. The September 7th through the 14th, the Globe Cruise. That's going out of Long Beach to Cabo San Lucas and Mazatlan and Puerto Vallarta. I've never been on a cruise before, so I'm like, she had asked me, and I'm like, hey, I am not down with not having land around me. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. And so I'm taking my husband with me just in case I'm like have anxiety ridden and a nervous wreck. So I'm like, you have to come with me. And he's like, he goes, okay. Snow Patrol is not really a baby, but
right.
I'm gonna need him to take care of me just in case. I got motion sickness.
I mean, there's a reason why this boat's a rocking, and it's not what you think. I'm not feeling well.
Exactly.
I'm not feeling well. You gotta look after me.
Exactly. But that should be a blast. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a new experience, and I'm excited about that too. So.
It should be a lot of fun, yes. And just to clarify, you weren't asked to appear in the documentary. It was after the fact.
They didn't find me. They didn't. I was not really around on Facebook. No. I wasn't around.
Okay.
I think they were able to find whoever they can find, and the reunion too, all that stuff. I wasn't like I was out there. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't even think I really had a Facebook page, and at some point they said I should get a Facebook page for Snow Patrol and stuff, which I did, and then I got bumped out like almost a year and a half ago, so I couldn't even get back into my my own page. So I'm like, what the heck? So now I'm having people go to Carmen Wickert and on Facebook and just friend me there.
Right.
The fans and all that. So they've been doing that as well. Plus, I want to mention, too, I do have a YouTube channel. It's called Carmen Wrestling with Life. And I talk about many different things. If people want to jump on that, subscribe, like, and share.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. You have one episode there, which today I'm wondering, ouch, was basically when you had fluid in your elbow. Yeah. And there was a before and after discussion about it, and the after part of the discussion didn't sound too well. What's the update on? And this is recent. This is just a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So I all of a sudden when I just went to Hawaii with my daughter for her birthday, and all of a sudden I look down at my elbow. I go, oh my God, it's gone! I have no fluid in my elbow at all. Thank God. It was horrific. It was like this big gel pad that was in there, and when the doctor was putting that needle in there, he barely got anything out. He goes, "It's too gelled up. It was not liquid. It wasn't liquidy anymore. It just gelled." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" And then he was talking about, well, if it doesn't go away and if it keeps reoccurring, I would have to take that bursa sac out. I'm like, I'm not taking that bursa. It's like, oh my God, enough already. I already had a meniscus tear. I had surgery in my knee due to like running a marathon, and like. So much dramatic stuff that's going on with me. If it's not one thing, it's another thing. And by the way, I keep bumping my damn elbow. And my husband goes, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's like I can't clear a doorway. It's like I'm accident bound. It's like, what the hell, Carmen?" So I'm being very careful with that. Plus, since I play tennis too, so yeah, there's a lot of things. I talk about melasma, on the face due to birth control, side effects, and
Wow.
and me being in the Stevie Ray Vaughan music video. That was pretty cool experience. So there's different things that are going to pop up. I'm a complete and edit a vlog with Hollywood and I in it. So people should check that out too. When it pops up, you'll see. We'll announce it on Facebook and Instagram. And my Instagram name is Carmen_Campbell_Villalobos. If anybody wants to check out the Instagram as well.
Oh, there you go.
Go.
And Glow, since day one, seems to have been dormant for almost 30 years, which is amazing to say out loud. And all of a sudden, even after the Netflix documentary that appeared in 2012, I believe, all of a sudden there was an announcement of a Glow series. And that must have been a tremendous, exciting moment to hear that it's going to live on now. If it wasn't already part of pop culture, now it's just part of history. That there's going to be.
Are you talking about the Glow series? Meaning what? The Glow Netflix?
Yes.
Okay.
And how did you feel when you first heard that it's going to be basically a resurgence of sorts with the Glow name?
I was confused. I was.
That was the first.
I didn't know who was involved in it, how this came to fruition, what's the deal. I had no idea what was, who owned the right to that, who gave them the right, none of it. I didn't know. And then I got the information from whoever, probably one of the Glow girls, I guess, that Ursula had owned the right to the name. And that was her thing. But I did go, when I was in Minnesota, I did go on to Twin Cities Live, and we were talking about, the show, because I watched the first season of that, and I thought it was pretty cool, so obviously some of the characters were based on some of us, and the Dave McClane character, that guy was kind of a stretch for David McClane. Certain things were not happening, and as far as the drugs and all that stuff. No, I didn't see that. I don't know who was doing drugs, but no, it wasn't like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, if for television, had to exaggerate.
It was great, funny, and the second season I watched as well. Well, I talked about the first season on the show. Everybody can see that. The clip is on my YouTube channel as well. You can see me talking about it and rating it and all that. I gave it a 7 out of 10 actually when it first came out, and I like what they did in the second season. My daughter and I were watching. It's funny. I mean, there's some things that are funny. You're starting to get into the characters and getting to know the characters, so I like that. No, it's great.
Right, and each episode is about half an hour long. You can binge watch them in one day.
The
entire season. And the first episode of the first season, as enjoyable as it was, personally as a fan, I was a little shocked. But then again, looking at it, okay, it's a TV show. They got to do and say maybe certain things for not shock value, but to exaggerate a little bit.
Yes, they exaggerate
what you're about to get into. And about maybe not even 5-10 minutes into the first episode, there's a nude sex scene. I'm like, whoa!
Oh, dude, I talked about that on the talk show.
Yeah,
I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Was your daughter in the room when this happened?
No, thank God.
Okay.
But you know what? My daughter's 19, but at the time she was 16 or 17. I don't know, but whatever. It's not like she's, but it's a chick.
Yeah.
So, but I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting it. I mean, just, okay, it's a comedy twist or spin on Glow, and I understand you got to tweak it up a little bit. I understand why not all the original names, right, and they would change. There's, if anything, the parodies of the original characters. And, I get that coming from a little bit of a media background from the past couple of years. So they had to go that route, especially because if there was a Soul Patrol tag team characters on a Netflix Glow show, technically they would have had to reach out to you and your partner and basically pay you royalties, and you get what's it called?
Oh yeah.
There's another term too that basically every time it's shown and every time somebody watches it an episode.
It is royalties.
Yeah, so I mean, you'll be taking maybe half a dozen trips to Hawaii every year because it's very popular. A lot of people do replays of every season, and they binge watch it again a weekend. I've done it myself several times now. It's so much fun. It's a lot of throwback. A great time in history in the 1980s with pop culture. Then the music, the movies.
Yeah.
It's a great time. So
Yeah.
if there is one,
with the rap songs and stuff, rap had came out. I think started back in, was it 78, 79?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So with us bringing that into the Glow show, I mean, that was just like the coolest thing to do. I mean, some girls have good rap. Some just like, some people
Right.
could rap. Plus, with the music they put onto that rap, I was like, okay.
Yeah, it was.
Can I rap to this beat?
It was too simple, right?
Even struggle with it sometimes. Like, well, okay.
It was. It looked like it took a while for everybody to find their rhythm, but I thought that.
Honey, it was the music.
Right. It was. It was too simple. It was too plain. I mean, there wasn't even a record scratching, but okay. I mean, this is the 80s.
That's right. You
Like-
need that record scratching.
What something, because like every 80s song, or the majority of rap songs in the 80s had a record scratch somewhere.
God, yes. Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. They missed the boat on that one, but whatever. Anyway.
But it still worked. It still, it worked out to everyone's advantage as far as getting noticed and basically introducing themselves for every episode, every match. There was a glow rap in the beginning. And
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Who would you say, if there is one, who would you say on the Glow Netflix series is your counterpart?
No one.
No one? Just they forgot about you?
I don't think so. I mean, they're all Caucasian girls on the show, except I think, is it 2 African Americans?
Yeah, Awesome Kong is there. I mean, great counterpart for Big Bad Mama, but as we mentioned, they couldn't use or decided not to use original names like that, and just come up with their own. And she plays it great. I thought.
What I thought was pretty cool though. One of that character, what's her name? Her name is Carmen on the show.
Mm-hmm.
She was the Polynesian, the Hawaiian, the one who has the brothers who are wrestlers. What's her name?
Machu Picchu.
Yes. But I thought, they named her Carmen. Okay, that's cool. Hey, at least I got that guy.
Oh, well, there's your connection. Yeah, little Easter egg there.
Yeah, I know. Ooh, hey. That's sweet. Yeah, I don't know. Was there any characters there that you saw that kind of, portrayed somewhat of Soul Patrol? I don't know.
I don't think so. At least not with how the Soul Patrol characters were. Like you described them, like badass, just want to go in there, beat the snot out of people. I mean, they might have merged a few characters. As Hollywood mentioned one time, she thinks her character was merged with 2 others, so you kind of get that Hollywoodish kind of vibe from one, but at the same time they have another uniqueness to them from someone else. And I think that's what they did. They merged them 2 or 3 characters into one. And I think they kind of had to as well to come up with their own names that kind of mirror the original character's name. So, good job on that. But right now, maybe in the new season, I've seen only one trailer. I think there's another one out there that kind of explains the storyline, what to expect. I haven't seen that one yet. So maybe
I haven't either.
So maybe there'll be a new character introduced that's going to be Soul Patrol based or Soul Patrol light.
Well, let's just see about that
one. The original cast, there's a bunch of characters that can play with, and they could leave and then come back. I'm not sure what the plan is for how many seasons. I mean, if it was up to me, I'd go for 10. I mean, 10 is usually the cutoff point anyway for TV shows and sitcoms. But
well, this is a Netflix show, and I don't know how really. I think they only go on for like maybe 5 years. I think, don't they? I don't know if they. Usually. Well, I mean, unless it stays so popular.
Yeah. Oh, they're gonna have to.
Unless they say, hey, I think we're going to have maybe drop in a couple of, original Glow girls up in here.
See, that would make sense. I mean, even Hollywood was wondering why can't original Glow girls make at least cameos? I mean,
cameos would be really cool, but, I really don't know.
I mean,
I don't know what they're contracted.
Right.
Contract, I don't know.
As far as what they can and cannot do.
I don't know what who owns the rights to, like, I don't know what their contract is.
Right.
I mean, whatever.
No, I
It
understand.
would be nice, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
I mean, I look at it, if Brooke Hogan can make a cameo, and they got Gina Davis coming up now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the third season, I think she plays another promoter in a different location, because you guys, the characters in the Glow series, they move out of Las Vegas, I think, and they got to find a new place, a new home.
Yeah, I know.
So Gina Davis comes in, and the lady who played a woman president on TV a few years ago, now she's a promoter for wrestling on the Glow series.
Isn't that crazy? Okay. Well, I guess how you're going to get, how many girls are we? Like, I think it's like, it could be 80 girls. We're going to get 80 girls to do a cameo? That's kind of hard.
Oh, wow. Yeah, all in one shot. Maybe spread that out a little bit,
If it goes on for her. And then who's going to be first, and who's
Right.
going to be... I think there's probably reasons for certain things, because, if one is doing it, then what about so-and-so? So, like,
Right. And
we all were a part of it, so why would it be just, a certain handful of Glow girls? That wouldn't be
right.
That wouldn't be cool, would it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it would, from a fan's point of view, it would definitely be nice to see. I know not everyone's going to understand the do's and don'ts, so to speak, and I'm sure not everyone was part of it, but I'm sure there had to been some kind of meeting as far as, we can't go there, we can't do this. Now, take that for what it is, but at the same time, that's how business is done usually when it comes to a TV show. And
right.
But because
Exactly.
because the characters' names were changed, then again, it raises more questions. But at the same time, Soul Patrol can not be mentioned for these legal reasons, because if they approached you, hey, do you mind if we use your likeness and name and all that? You could have said no, and had no choice but to create someone else completely different on the fly, and still have some traits of yours, but it'll be looked at as a parody.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's a lot of I's to cross, T's to dot, whatever the saying goes.
Wait, I think it's what? No, I's to dot and T's to cross.
Right.
Don't confuse me. You tested me.
Right, but the situation.
Wait.
Right, but the situation can be confusing as well, because fans are still asking. They're enjoying the show,
right,
but they're still asking all these why questions.
You're right, and they are, and they're asking us, and we can't give answers because we don't have the answers.
Right. And
so
after a while, I mean, I get it, especially after speaking with Hollywood Lightning and the Royal Hawaiian. Yeah, I understand now. So you just don't know, and can't really force it out of you, because you just don't know what's to force out.
Right.
So it is what it is, but
love to answer the question and give people what they want,
right,
that type of information, but we don't have it. So I think only probably Netflix and Ursula has that answer.
Right. So any chance of a reunion? I mean, I'm not saying for a pay-per-view or anything like that, but with the current Glow girls that are available, maybe
I have no idea.
Like a one night only type of thing.
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question, and maybe in the future that will happen. I'm not opposed to it. It's all good.
Yeah, because I think everyone can still speak for themselves and share how life has been after Glow, and just share the stories. Like you said, recently got remarried. You have a daughter going to college, so we're all still human. So it's not like you can bump around for the rest of your life and not take take a minute to stop and smell the roses, like the old saying goes.
Which I love to do. Oh my God. Got to do that, don't you?
Right.
You can't let life just go pass you
Right.
by, and you didn't stop and smell the damn roses.
Right. So with the cruise coming up, you mentioned what hopefully won't happen with you, but with the interactions with the fans, as you mentioned, you've never been on a cruise before, but from what you do know and what's been explained as far as Hollywood and Lightning or anyone else that's going to also be there, what can you expect, or what are you looking forward to?
Well, of course, meeting the fans, and all the different events that are being planned with the fans. You know, trust me, this is all a new experience for me. Hollywood, Royal Hawaiian, Lightning, they've been out there. They've been meeting the fans and all that. I have not gotten a chance. So I'm like completely green on this. So my experience is going to be, I'll let you know. After it's all done, I can come back and tell you how that experience went and how I was feeling. And oh my God, I was able to get off the boat. The ship.
You probably run off the boat.
Did I go to the doctors?
You probably run off the boat.
Was there a helicopter that took me away?
Oh my God, land! And you start kissing the ground.
I'm telling you, I'll be like Tom Hanks in what's it?
Castaway.
Wilson. What's it? Castaway. Like,
oh boy. Oh boy, it's not the same person that left on the boat now. I don't know who this is. But
exactly.
Well,
but no, I'm looking forward to everything. This is very exciting. Everything's exciting, and who knows what the future has in store for all of us girls. You know, maybe just like a whole bunch of great things, and never know.
Well, I'm not sure.
Maybe we might have our own Netflix show. Who knows?
Well, there you go. And for more information, you can head over to originalglowgirls.com and book your tickets there. And just to run down a few of activities that will be taking place on the cruise itself. And I don't know how much of this you're aware of, but there's going to be a hula contest.
Yes.
And a glow wrap off.
Yeah.
So have you been touching up with your lyrics?
Oh, which is so funny. It's funny that you said that, because I literally have them right here in front of me. Oh. Should I do my little rap?
Oh, hey. A little preview. I like this. Exclusive.
If it sucks or not. Okay, are we ready for it?
Yes.
Oh, do you know my rap?
You had a few quite different ones.
My rap.
Oh no, but your rap. Oh no, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna say no.
Okay, that's good. You're not a liar. All right, let me get myself going here. We beat the Soul Patrol. We left Chicago to work the glow. I'm envy and I'm adore. People say we're rotten right to the core. The girls who wrestle are such a bore, but when we hit them, they hit the floor. We dress in leather and in lace. We know we got the figures and the pretty face. Our attitudes, our state of mind, but when we wrestle, we're right on time. Just watch our moves, they'll blow your mind. So listen up, homeboys, come see us sometime.
Wow.
That's our rap. That's our rap. It ain't bad, right? It's pretty cool back in those times.
That is awesome. No, I was taken back to 85 just now. No, but that's awesome. Do a rap battle right now somewhere in a street corner of Brooklyn, and there'll be some competition, but just throw in some Soul Patrol slang there. Like, I got some nunchucks and brass knuckles.
Oh, I like that. Let me redo this one now. See, now you can do. Come on now. Come on, hit me back.
Oh my goodness, no! I think I'd be too shy to do something like that, but.
And then there's going to be the glow ball and dirty bingo. I understand.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then we'll be going to do some excursions, I guess, with the fans too.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I guess off the cruise ship, and I wouldn't mind doing some what's it called zip lining. I've never done that before, but you can zip line. I believe it's in Mazatlan or it's in Puerto Vallarta. I don't know. I have not been to those two places. I have been to Cabo San Lucas like 3 times, so I'm pretty more interested in the other places. That's exciting.
I mean, either way, it sounds like it's going to be a great time. I can only imagine the creative lyrics the fans are going to come up with during the rap contest. Oh
my God, yeah. We might even think about doing the hip book dictionary, Soul Patrol's hip dictionary. So you never know. We might do that.
Yeah.
Although I forgot it all. I forgot. All I know is, Soul Patrol used before in a sentence. 2 and 2 be 4. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Kind of corny, but
But and that's the funny thing, though. I mean, it's still a rap. I mean, you got the rhymes in there and all, but you're still talking smack. You know? And nowadays,
we still got our damn attitudes because we always did.
Yeah, I mean, now that not all of them, but you know, these millennials. I'm like, okay, was she trying to intimidate me? Back in the day, you get your head twisted off. Now, you know, it's the last thing you'll probably end up hearing, having a Soul Patrol member come at you. So, but I'm not encouraging violence or anything like that. It's just, you know, way of life sometimes is different from, say, the suburbs and, you know, the ghettos and whatnot. But I mean, it's just a character of envy. By the way, were you aware that you were named after the sixth deadly sin?
Well, listen, dude. I know it is part of that, but in my mind, I was not thinking that. I just thought, ooh, envy. People gonna envy me. That's all about.
Okay.
Like, ooh, they're gonna adore my partner. So hey, envy and adore. That just sounds so sweet, though, right? It was like, ooh, envy and adore. Come on.
Well, if you put it that way, definitely, yes. It sounds.
I know.
It sounds kind of cute now.
It is cute. Envy and adore. Envy me, adore her.
Yeah.
Come on. Especially when we're wearing our leather jackets and our purple lace.
Well, that kind of ups the stake now, doesn't it? You know, I still envy you with them leather boots. Okay.
Yeah.
Unless you actually found a leather pair of nunchucks that Ador's carrying around. I don't know.
I don't know what she has. She'd be hiding.
Probably just gave somebody a kinky idea now. Anyway. Be sure to send you an extra box of Band-Aids for you.
Oh, God. Oh, my Lord. Yeah. Lesson learned.
Yeah. So, are you going to still keep up with uploading a few more videos on your YouTube channel?
Oh, God, yeah. Like I said, we're probably Sunday. I'm going to start editing the vlog with Hollywood in it.
Oh, okay.
So
that's
that
right.
And another one that's going to be coming out too. Yeah, I have. I'm just rolling and rolling with it.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, on the cruise, my husband's going to be vlogging it all. Mm-hmm. So that should be great. Yeah, I'm gonna continue vlogging. So I want everybody to come hit me up on Carmen's Wrestling with Glow. Carmen Wrestling with Life. You got that on my mind because we're talking about it. Carmen Wrestling with Life is my YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. Like I said, like, subscribe, share, and make some comments and tell me what you think. That's what I care about. It's exciting. It's fun, you know.
Yeah. And can you remind everyone else exactly where to find you on social media?
Yes, you can find me at Carmen Wickert from Facebook and Instagram. It's Carmen _Campbell _Villalobos. VILLALOBOS. That be that.
No Twitter?
Dude, I ain't on Twitter yet, but when I get on Twitter, I'll let everybody know. I'll be twittering you. Or is it called tweeting you?
Tweet. You know, you're gonna tweet me.
I'm a tweet.
Yeah, if you say it right, it sounds like you're threatening someone. I'm gonna tweet you. It's the biggest tweet you only see it coming.
You ain't gonna see it coming. Yeah.
Did you see that?
We'll
tweet?
see what the first post is gonna be. I don't know.
Did you see that tweet Carmen put out? That tweet that Carmen tweeted about that in Twitter. So many tweets. I don't know. Retweet it. What, her tweet? Yeah, on Twitter. Retweet her tweet. Oh, I got you. Yeah. Little blue bird sitting on your shoulder and like literally tweeting what your replies are.
That's fun. Dude, this is exciting. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, this is awesome. I just want to give a special shout out to Lady Oyanka.
Yeah.
For happening. Yep. And
she introduced me to you, and it was awesome.
Yes,
she's very cool. She's down. She's a great promoter for us.
Well, though I think Hollywood would call her the personal assistant, but yeah, I got you.
Yeah, like that. I've never met her before, and I'll meet her on the cruise, so it's all great.
Well, if her I'm sure you had conversations with her. If that's any indication how she is in person, then yeah.
It's gonna be a fun-filled trip, right?
Oh yeah, it's
We never know what's gonna be coming around the corner.
no, just make sure you rap loud enough so people can hear you coming, and you don't just
Right? They better watch out because I will have nunchucks in hand.
Oh boy, you can get those through customs. But yes, thank you very much for coming in. Thank you for sharing your stories, for opening up with us. Such an honor. Hopefully we can meet again down the road. And
well, you can come on the cruise.
Oh yeah, would love to make plans. But once
Make
again,
comes again. If I'm able to do it, then you need to come hop on that cruise ship with us.
Yeah, come on, yeah. Head over to originalglowgirls.com for all information and purchase tickets. So
purchase the tickets. Have fun with us, everyone.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a blast. It's going to be a blast. We guarantee it.
So,
although unless I'm in bed and sick.
Oh well, yeah. Put a big old "Do Not Disturb" sign right outside the door.
Get out.
This was fun, yes. So once again, thank you for joining me. So
thank you.
Enjoy the cruise. I understand you're traveling right now. Have happy travels and be safe. And we'll be in touch. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much too.